a warm welcome to the Autumn Bid Forum. My name's Hugh Miles, I'm the chair of the bid and managing partner over at Harris Smith LLP. This is a bid forum with a slight difference. You're probably wondering why it is that I'm standing here and talking to you. And of course, normally it's the Executive Director, Mr. Paul Spencer. And the simple reason is that we've got quite a packed schedule for you in this forum today. We've got 3 speakers and we'll probably have time for a Q&A session at the end as well. So we all agreed it would be a good idea if I chaired this meeting in the same manner as we do the AGM or the general board meetings. So thank you for attending, thank you for your attention and thank you for your engagement. It means a lot to us that you are all here. It really is much appreciated. We have a running order, and as you can see from the slide here, our terrific trio, ignore me at the top. We start with Mr. Paul Spencer, just off to my left and your right. Paul is going to take us through the launch of the business plan that we hope will go forward over the next 5 years from 2023 onwards. He's also going to show some exciting videos, as I understand it. Paul will be followed by bid manager Sarah Davis, who is usually very bubbly, no pressure, and usually tells lots of jokes. Sarah gets all of the laughs. So
that's why we've come.
Oh,
indeed.
Who said that? I owe you money, definitely.
Let's see if Sarah is true to form today.
Thanks, no pressure.
And then to close, before we have the Q&A subject to time, we will have what I'm sure will be a fascinating talk from Donna Jones, who you will see is the Police and Crime Commissioner for Hampshire and Isle of Wight. But before we come on to the talks, could you please indulge me to share a personal message with you, which will only take a few short minutes. And what I want us to do is reflect on what an important time this is for businesses and in fact for individuals everywhere. There are lots of things happening across the country, internationally and even globally at the moment, over which we have really no control. Consumer and business confidence is low, inflation is rampant, borrowing costs are rising. We all know it's very difficult to recruit and then retain people, especially the good people. If, like me, you look at economic predictions, you'll have seen that the vast majority of them for 2023 and for the next couple of years are particularly gloomy, especially if you are the Bank of England. We've literally just had an almost complete change of government without there being any election. And on Friday, we will have a mini budget and an announcement of a raft of new economic policies. They are bold, I would suggest, and it will be many years before we understand the true impact, good or bad, because we don't know, of those policies. Now, you all read the news, so you probably sat there wondering why I'm telling you all this. And the reason is, it's this point that we don't have any control over the national, international and global picture. Where we have control is on the local level. And it's vital to get that right. Having a bid creates a budget and puts that budget in the hands of its members, the people here, operating within the bid area, which essentially is the city centre, as you all know. As members, we get to oversee the operations of the bid itself. So we decide how we promote the city, how we promote our businesses, how we look after our people, our safety and security, and the environment in which we do business, and in many cases, where we live. The bid gives businesses a direct control over its actions and a collective influence over local government that wouldn't otherwise exist. And as Paul and Sarah will explain in more detail in a few moments, Winchester bid really does get it right. We have a vote this autumn to continue the bid for another 5 years. So I urge you all to listen very carefully today and to share what you hear with others, especially other members. We can all encourage our colleagues to engage and to vote according to their personal view as to what is right for Winchester. For me, when I vote, I will reflect on the achievements of the last 5 years and the work that I've seen Paul, Sarah, Chris, Jane, the whole bid team do over the course of that 5 years. And it's been a true pleasure to work with them. I meet lots of lawyers. I don't meet lots of people from other industries. And one of the things that most impressed me when I joined the board was the diverse range of skills that these people bring to the table. It is really very special. So I will reflect on that when I vote, and I will have a desire also to see an even greater contribution over the course of the next 5-year term, vote permitting. And through the elected members of the board and the bid team, I am very confident that we can deliver success subject to that yes vote. You'll know from the packs that have gone out that the postal ballot will begin on the 4th of October and will run to the 3rd of November. So this is our collective chance to get it right again. The final words. As members of the bid, we all share this opportunity to work together to make Winchester, and especially, most relevantly, business in Winchester, better for everyone. So Paul, over to you to explain to us how that is going to be done.
Right, so hello everyone, and thank you for joining us for our latest Winchester Business Improvement District Forum here at the Wessex Centre in the Winchester Cathedral's Inner Close. Those of you that have attended our bid forums and AGMs in the past will be familiar, but for anyone who's new, I just wanted to let you know that we film the presentations and put them online, so any bid members who can't attend are able to watch them back afterwards. So I hope that's okay with everyone. I just wanted to make you aware of the recording taking place. We'll also share the slides afterwards too, and you'll notice as we go through we always include yellow buttons which you can click in the PDF version to access more information. And we hold our forums quarterly, so regularly throughout the year, to provide opportunities for everyone to come together, learn about the work of the bid and the latest projects that are coming up, network with each other, ask questions, talk to the team and the board, and join in discussions about topics of interest to our local business community. So I'm delighted today to be launching the business plan proposals for a 4th 5-year term of the Winchester Business Improvement District from 2023 through to 2028. All bids, including the Winchester bid, operate in terms of 5 years, and every 5 years we prepare a new business plan based on the projects and services that our members want to see us deliver. And bid levy payers or members who invest into the bid have the opportunity to vote in that ballot process that Hugh mentioned for the bid to continue for a subsequent 5-year term. So we started the process of preparing our new business plan in the autumn of last year, so it's been a year-long project. And we started with an independent survey that we commissioned of Winchester bid members about their priorities for us to focus on in the future. And since then we've had a series of engagement events and activities throughout this year, and it's a real pleasure to be able to launch the outcome of those activities with the final business plan with you today. So as Hugh mentioned, after my update on the business plan, our bid manager Sarah Davis will be talking to us about some of the projects that we have coming up later this year that you might want to get involved with, and then we're very pleased to have our guest speaker Donna Jones with us as well, so thank you to Donna for joining us. And of course, those of you at the last forum in July will remember we had a presentation from Trinity Winchester, a local charity providing support for people experiencing homelessness and vulnerable people, which was recently awarded some funding from the Office of the Police and Crime Commissioner for additional outreach work in the city centre. So we look forward to hearing from Sarah and Donna a little bit later on. There are hard copies of the business plan on your seats, as you will see. And for bid members watching online, you should have received your copy in the post by now, but if you haven't, contact us, let us know, we can get a copy to you. It can also be viewed online, and we've got hard copies available from Winchester Business Centre on Parchment Street, which is where our office is based. So firstly, what's a business improvement district and how does it all work? So there's now over 330 bids across the country, and the majority operate in town and city centres. They're business-led partnerships which deliver projects and services to local businesses which are beyond the statutory responsibilities of public bodies such as the local council, for example, or the police. They're legally established, voted for in a ballot process, and our last ballot was in the autumn of 2017, and as Hugh has mentioned, our next one is taking place very soon with the ballot period beginning in October. Bids are funded by a levy which is derived from a percentage of rateable value, and among UK bids this ranges from around 1% up to 6%, and in Winchester it's set at 1.5%, and we're not proposing to increase this percentage in the fourth term. So the levy will remain at 1.5% of rateable value, and there will also be no inflation charge on that amount over the 5 years of the term. And there's been quite a lot of work between the team and the board on the budget to make that possible, so we can try and keep our costs on businesses to run and operate the bid and deliver all these projects lower. So it's one bill that hopefully won't be going up. Bids are established within a defined geographical boundary, often in town and city centres, as I mentioned, but sometimes other commercial locations such as industrial estates, and they operate on that 5-year cycle. So this week, all of those eligible to vote in the Winchester bid ballot may have already received, I think some of you certainly have, your information from Winchester City Council, which is our local billing authority, about the arrangements for the ballot. And it's a postal ballot asking you if you're in favour of the proposals for a fourth term of the bid. And then ballot papers will be sent out from Winchester City Council on the 4th of October. They'll be in a blue envelope. So that's what you're looking out for. And they've got to be returned either by post in the prepaid envelopes provided or in person to the council's offices by 5 p.m. on Thursday, the 3rd of November, in order to be counted. And the results will be announced on Friday, the 4th of November. So more information about the key dates, a short guide on how to vote in the ballot, and frequently asked questions are available on our website. So the bid in Winchester has been operating since 1st of April 2008, so we're now in our 15th year, and we were one of the first bids to be established in the south of England. Over that time, we've enabled over £7 million to be invested in projects and services to improve the city centre as a business location, and we've raised over £750,000 more through grants, sponsorship and project-generated income. So the bid's delivered 2 business plans over 2 terms of 5 years, and we're now in the final year of our 3rd term, which will end on the 31st of March 2023. And proposals have been developed for a 4th term of the bid, which are summarised in our new business plan, and subject to success at ballot, the new term will begin on the 1st of April 2023. So the bid operates through a not-for-profit organisation called Winchester City Centre Partnership, and we report to an independent board of up to 16 directors who oversee the delivery of the city centre strategy and the funds allocated. You can see our current board members on the left-hand side of this slide. They provide a range of skills and represent a variety of sectors such as property, legal, retail, hospitality and leisure, among others. There's a rotation policy on the board, so we encourage new bid members to come forward and get involved, and you can stand for election to join the board each year at the annual general meeting. And if you think you might be interested in getting involved with the board in the future, then please do contact us and we would love to hear from you. So this is your board, your colleagues and your peers, and above all they are people who love Winchester and want to see its business community thrive just as much as you do. And that's why they and others before them over the past 15 years have supported the bid and kindly given their time and expertise to provide good governance and assist with developing the strategy and direction of our work. And then on the right-hand side of this slide, you can see the team, which is made up of 2 full-time and 2 part-time members of staff. Until recently, we had a 3rd full-time member of staff, Tanya Meir, who many of you will know as our marketing and communications coordinator. She's left the bid to take on a new opportunity, and we thank her for her contributions over the past few years and wish her the best for the future. Now, one of her last tasks was organising the printing of the business plan, which is on your seats, which was printed on carbon captured paper. And you'll see her pictured in the document, and I know she was pleased to be able to be with us to see the development of that business plan through to completion. Many of you will know Susie Durix on the slide here. So Susie is an award-winning marketing and social media manager in Winchester who's worked with us on a freelance basis for the past 4 years. And Susie's now doing some additional work with us to deliver our upcoming marketing projects, including seasonal campaigns for Halloween and for Christmas, so we're very excited about that. So a professional and passionate team have a wealth of expertise to develop and deliver the projects and services that you've asked us to deliver for you over the next 5 years. And this is the team that's responsible for the day-to-day management and operation of the bid. So here we have the Winchester bid area, and we're not proposing changes to the boundaries this time around. It has been tweaked in the past, and we think we've got to a point that we've got a geographical boundary that works well, and a group of businesses with common themes and thoughts about what they want to see us deliver. So to the north you've got the train station, you've got to the east Chesil Street, Kingsgate Village and the Cathedral to the south, and to the west Romsey Road. And there's a more detailed map which you can get on our website, and there's a button on here that you can click to access that. So this slide shows income for the current financial year, as well as bid members by sector. And because we're not changing the levy rules or the boundaries in the bid area, levy income will be similar in the new term, although we will be looking to increase our external income. So a 5-year budget is being prepared and is included in the business plan. We expect over the 5 years of a new term of the bid that the levy will enable over £2.9 million to be invested in projects and services, and we expect to generate over £320,000 more, which will also be invested into initiatives to improve the city as a business location. In terms of the number of hereditaments or individual properties within the bid area, there are 931, and that amounts to over 700 businesses who are part of the Winchester Business Improvement District. So the first, second and third business plans of Winchester Bid have driven our agenda since 2008, and bid members were consulted on and voted for the delivery of a number of different projects and services. And I've included some highlights over the next 2 slides. And of course, all of you that have contributed towards the development of our new business plan, taken part in the consultation activities, or those of you which are on the board or sit on various advisory groups, or who engage in our many different projects and services, are helping to set our agenda for the future. So these highlights of the bid's achievements on the next 2 slides are arranged under the headings of our third term objectives. And the first is to position and promote Winchester. So over the past 15 years, we've utilised a range of different marketing media, from print, radio, outdoor, social media and digital platforms, to advertise Winchester as a city, but also to promote our bid member businesses which are based here. And across our social media platforms, we have over 17,600 followers, and we now share content with bid members every day using the hashtag #HelloWinchester across our social media platforms. To help promote Winchester as a visitor destination, we work closely with Visit Winchester and the Discover Winchester Consortium. We chair the Festivals in Winchester group, and this year there are over 40 festivals taking place in the city. There were 59 city centre businesses which were involved in this year's Winchester Fashion Week, which was a programme involving 43 events over 6 days, including sell-out masterclasses, showcases, exhibitions, workshops, shopping events, and of course a grand finale catwalk show. The Winchester Christmas Lights Switch On last year attracted 10,000 people to the city centre. The Winchester Business Excellence Awards provides an opportunity for businesses to promote major achievements and celebrate success, and this year marked the 20th anniversary year of the awards. Each year we distribute 50,000 copies of the Winchester Independence Pocket Map across the summer months and the festive season, which is also available to view online, promoting our fantastic independent business community in Winchester. And the bid's trails continue to be popular and a great way of moving visitors around Winchester and attracting people to come in and enjoy a day out in the city. So, for example, the Bunny Hop Easter Trail back in April had 260 participating bid members and 549 small groups and families taking part in that trail. So the next objective is to manage and enhance the cityscape. The Winchester Business Crime Reduction Partnership brings together businesses, the police, and the Winchester Community Safety Partnership, and has a national standards accreditation which recognises good practice and professionalism. We've been managing that partnership now for the past 11 years. There are 193 bid members which have joined the local shop watch and pub watch schemes. The Bid Ranger scheme, and we have Brett, one of our bid rangers here today, was launched in 2018 to help reduce business crime and provide additional security in the city centre. And since then, I think the number's gone up, whether Brett can remember it, but the number in the business plan is that the Rangers have helped to recover over £50,000 worth of goods from offenders stealing from local businesses. So that's stuff that would be out the door and gone if we didn't have this service in Winchester. Last year, the Winchester Street Passers celebrated their 10th anniversary year, working with the BID, the City Council and the police to help make the city centre safer at night. The Spare Change for Lasting Change scheme, which is a charity giving scheme, supports homelessness charities, the Winchester Beacon and Trinity Winchester. And over the course of the bid, we've raised £36,500 for those two charities. Each year, as part of the bid's additional street cleaning programme, there are around 10,000 metres squared of pavements in the bid area cleared of grime and chewing gum, and we've been removing around 800 graffiti tags from business areas and business properties around the city, which have unfortunately been tagged. And you might have noticed them on the way here, but we've provided 2,551 floor hanging baskets for business premises and other organisations across the city over the past 5 years. And there are 580 summer displays out there at the moment, and they've bloomed wonderfully over the past few months. And we're part of the Sustainable Business Network, which has delivered 25 events over the past 5 years on a range of topics to help businesses to reduce their carbon footprint. The third objective is to support business growth. In 2018, we launched a new and expanded savings and advisory service to help BID members to save money in their business. We offer free courses and workshops for businesses based on local demand. Recent examples include conflict management, financial control, first aid at work, which was last week. And marketing and selling is another topic, as well as people management. That have all been covered fairly recently. Since Winchester Business Centre opened in 2013, more than 100 startups and small businesses have used that facility as a base to grow their business. And the meeting room is a facility that's free for any BID member to come and use, and that's regularly utilised. We also do our best to support businesses in times of need, and some examples over recent years included snow clearing in winter, flood support assistance during power loss and roadworks disruption, and a business support service which ran through the COVID-19 pandemic, and the page is still up there on the website with many updates that you would have seen over the past few years. And in 2020 we launched a health and wellbeing scheme to try and connect people who work in Winchester with BID members which offer health-related services to enhance their fitness and well-being. And the final objective is to influence and inspire positive change. So the BID has represented and responded to business views on major topics, including the Central Winchester and Station Approach developments, the Winchester Movement Strategy, the Local Plan, the Green Economic Development Strategy, local and national government COVID-19 business support, and on the national level we did a lot of work with BIDs around the country. There's about 150 of us all working together to send information up to government to help inform the support that they were providing. We've also fed into the Treasury's business rates review as well, and most recently on rising energy costs as well. We've been collaborating with those 150 or so BIDs across the country and other organisations to communicate those challenges to government. So we can do some stuff at the national level as well, Hugh, but obviously with a local perspective on it. We've published 43 quarterly business barometer reports since 2011, which assess business confidence, sales performance, footfall, vacancy rates, and how particular events impact Winchester businesses. And these reports are utilised by us to help us with our own strategy, but they're also used by Hampshire Chamber of Commerce and also the Bank of England, the office for the South. And we provide very regular comment on things like the parking and access strategy, which supports new initiatives to make travelling into the city centre easier, including public transport and active travel. And there have been 7,730 downloads of our Park Winchester app, which helps customers, staff, clients, visitors travelling by car to find an available parking space in the city. And all of this work is possible due to that collective investment which the BID levy represents and the additional external income that we're able to raise. So having a BID in Winchester is about businesses working together and collectively investing in projects and services to improve the city as a business location. And our vision is to secure a stronger future for Winchester. And our values as an organisation are to be collaborative. That's what BIDs are all about, businesses working together. And we aim to be responsive to your ideas and your needs as our members. To be knowledgeable, so to use data and information, your views, qualitative feedback to inform our decisions. To be change-making and build partnerships between businesses in the city and other stakeholders and partners to bring about positive and sustainable change. And to be transparent, inclusive, open and honest. So on this slide, I've included just a selection of images of illustrating some of the different work that we do. And I also wanted to share some images from the recent Winchester Best Bar None Awards, which took place earlier this month. So Best Bar None is a national accreditation scheme supported by the Home Office and the drinks industry, which promotes safety, responsible management and operation of licensed venues. And the bids facilitates the local scheme, which is coordinated by our business crime reduction manager, Jane Bastock, who's sat in the corner there. And this year we had 7 silver awards and 4 gold awards. So I just want to say congratulations again to the venues that were awarded their accreditation this year. They've really done Winchester proud, and I think highlight how well their venues are managed and showcasing that Winchester is a safe and enjoyable place to go out and socialise. So what about the future? So our new business plan for a 4th term of the Winchester bid has been developed through a continuous dialogue between the bid board, the bid team and our bid members, and we've used a variety of methods over the past year to capture business feedback about the projects and services that our members are saying that they would like to see us deliver over the next 5 years. So on the bottom of this slide are some of the priorities highlighted from the feedback that we've collated from business in the city centre, and they include marketing the city, festivals and events, the Business Crime Reduction Partnership, Shop Watch and Pub Watch, the Radio Link scheme and the 7-day-a-week Ranger service, supporting the independent business community in the city, providing networking and training, promoting equality and diversity, sustainability and green issues, and health and well-being for people who work in the city centre. Additional public realm enhancements is a priority for many. So, for example, the floral displays, the Christmas lights, the additional cleaning and tidying up of things, and measuring how the city is performing, so using data and information to guide decision making. And then a key one, which has certainly come out more in the last 5 years, is that lobbying and influencing the agenda on key issues which impact the commercial well-being of the city centre. So, taking this insight into account, for a 4th term of Winchester bid, we commit to deliver a programme of projects and services which help ensure that Winchester is marketed and promoted successfully, that our city centre is safe and secure, that it's clean, attractive and more sustainable, and is a place where businesses thrive. So these are the key themes for the new term. And on this slide, we've got a list of the different projects to be delivered between 2023 through to 2028. So theme 1 is a better promoted city. So we'll be supporting marketing and communications, investing in campaigns which promote Winchester as a thriving place for commercial investment, and also one of the best places to live, work and visit, as well as study in the UK. So supporting our independent business community, city centre events, and we intend to diversify our events programme to create new opportunities for more bid members in different sectors of the local economy to get involved. To continue running the festivals in Winchester Group, seasonal promotions and supporting the work of our fantastic Winchester tourist guides. So theme 2 is a safe and secure city. So the Business Crime Reduction Partnership, Shop Watch and Pub Watch, the Best Bar None accreditation scheme for licensed venues, bid ranges, and we're looking to extend this scheme as well as it's been hugely popular and impactful, and supporting the work of the Winchester street passes in the nighttime economy. And we'll continue that Spare Change for Lasting Change giving scheme as well to support local charities helping those in need. So theme 3, a clean, attractive and more sustainable city. So the summer and winter floral displays across the city, the Christmas lighting scheme for the festive season, additional public realm enhancements including additional street cleaning above and beyond what our local authorities provide, graffiti removal and also investment in new public art installations across the city. And the Sustainable Business Network, which we feel is a really important partnership. And then theme 4, a thriving business community. So this is the annual Business Excellence Awards. We're looking at a review and expansion of our savings and advisory service. We continue offering training, networking and business events based on local demand for those training needs. Winchester Business Centre, we're planning to refurbish and upgrade the business centre next year to provide better facilities for bid members and local businesses. Health and Wellbeing Scheme, promoting equality and diversity. And we'd like to introduce a new citywide campaign for National Inclusion Week to help promote more inclusive workspaces. Business continuity support, influencing the agenda and providing that shared voice for businesses, collecting and analysing footfall and car parks data, city centre audits and that quarterly business barometer. And of course further detail on all of those projects is available in the full version of the business plan. This slide provides a brief explanation of how the bid ballot works. So all those that are under the proposals for the new term would be liable for the bid levy, have one vote for each individual business premises they have within the Winchester bid area. And for the ballot to be successful, there must be a simple majority of those voting in favour of the proposals, both in terms of the numbers, but also the rateable value represented by those voting. So more information is available on our website, and so if you'd like to take a look, it's winchesterbid.co.uk, and you will notice that we've had for a little while now a Ballot 2022 clickable link up at the top on the menu there, and that's where you can get those key dates, electronic version of the business plan, short guide on how to vote, and frequently asked questions that we've put up on there as well. And one of the best ways to stay in touch with up to date with everything that we do is to receive our newsletter, which is every 2 weeks, every fortnight. You can keep up to date with the latest projects that you can get involved in. And to sign up, you can either, there's a form on our webpage, on the home page, but also you can contact any member of the team and we will put you onto that mailing list. So we aim to build on the successes of the past 15 years and deliver themes and activities based on the priorities raised by our bid members. So we're not proposing changes to the bid area or the levy rules in the new term, as I mentioned. We propose to retain the bid levy at 1.5% of rateable value and promise no inflationary increases on the bid levy over the term. So we aim to diversify our services to meet the needs of more local businesses, and our vision is to secure a stronger future for Winchester by undertaking initiatives which focus on a better promoted city, a safe and secure city, a clean, attractive and sustainable city, and a thriving business community. So for a stronger future for Winchester, and so we can keep working together to achieve more for Winchester and its business community, please vote yes when you receive those blue envelopes in the post. So thank you very much for listening to me. And I've got a short video that I want to show you which illustrates some of the work that we do, and then I'm happy to take any questions if there are any before we move on to our next speaker. So now's the chance, if there are any questions, to raise them now, and I'll let Hugh chair if there are any.
Yeah.
Wow.
Shy room.
Okay. Well, if you have got anything you want to ask us, do come and see us. You can contact us in many different ways: social media, in person at the business centre, email. Give us a call, and we'd love to hear from you. So, shall I pass over to Sarah now? Then?
Pass over straight to Sarah.
So, Big Manager Sarah Davis, talk to us about some of the key projects coming up in the autumn and winter.
Thanks, Paul. I get a bit choked up by that.
That's the second time I've watched that today, and I find it quite emotional. I'm going to use it as my CV going forward. I think this kind of sums up what I do for a living. I do it for a living because I love it, and I've told you all this before. You know I love this city. Anyway, let's talk about the highlight of the evening. This is what we're talking about now. Events. As well as everything you've just seen, believe you me, we're now busy moving forward and looking at what we can do for the rest of the year. And this is the big one next. Every year we do trails, and trails are so popular. They are so engaging. They get footfall in the city, which as businesses is what you want. It's what you tell us you want. They get people moving around to parts of the city they don't know, and that's why we do the Spooky Winch and the Bunny Hop trails. The Spooky Winch trail is, believe it or not, in just 23 days. In 23 days, your kids will be almost getting ready for half term. And I know they've only just gone back to school. That kind of scares me. But this is a self-guided tour around the city, and as a business, you can be involved. All you have to do is put your hand in the air. Not now, leave it. Or email marketing@winchesterbid.co.uk. You then get a window sticker with a word on it, and people will come around the city having picked up a trail sheet and find your word, write it down. There are 9 words across the city. Take their trail sheet back to either the Visitor Information Centre, the Arc, or the City Museum, where they pick them up from, to be entered into a prize draw. So you can be part of either having a window sticker or putting something in the prize draw. But believe you me, the prize draw is always quite entertaining. Some years we have 7 hampers because so many businesses in this city are so generous to us. I'm not asking you to fill 7 hampers. Somebody's already given us a tent. So we've already filled 1 hamper. But if you want to give us something for a hamper, we'd be very grateful. Thank you very much. And if you want a window sticker, marketing@winchesterbid.co.uk. Businesses are kind and generous, and this is a real winner once it starts getting dark at night. But what really excites us is the Winchester Christmas lights switch on. I know, believe it or not, in just 57 days' time, we will be turning the lights on, kindly sponsored by our friends at Not Paris Smith. Dutton Gregory, thank you, Rob. Wherever you are. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Rob. This is huge. Now, you will have paid attention to Paul, and you will know that there are 500 and how many? Yeah, I can't remember either. 560-ish hanging baskets up at the moment. They will have to... Thank you very much. 580. You're better at this than I am. They will have to come down shortly so we can get the Christmas lights up. This is how it works in Winchester. It scares me. But probably come the beginning of next month, we'll take those hanging baskets down to get the lights up. It takes us 6 weeks to get the lights up because there are so many of them. But those people who have already written to me and said, oh, will you be putting the Christmas lights on? Yes, we will be putting the Christmas lights on in Winchester. You as businesses pay for the Christmas lights. You as businesses want footfall. We turn the Christmas lights on, you get footfall. This is quite an easy part of the deal. So we will start installing the lights in the next few weeks. You'll start seeing them go up. 57 days' time, we will turn them on the night of Thursday, the 17th of November. On the Broadway from 4 till 7 p.m. The lights come on at 6. You are all welcome. As Paul said, 10,000 people last year. You don't need an invite. Just come along. It's a great community event. It's a great local event. We'll have performers from local schools, from pilgrims here. We'll have singers, we'll have choirs. It's a lovely community event. The lights come on at 6. Everybody goes, woo! Then people start phoning me and saying, they're not on Parchment Street. Yes, I know, they're not on Parchment Street. It takes a while to get them all on. The tree in the High Street will arrive that week as well, so you will see the tree in the High Street. Can't move that. The amount of people who ask if we can move that, it goes into a pit that's 8 foot deep. That's the reason I can't move it. If it didn't go into a pit that was 8 foot deep, I might be able to move it. But it was built for it, and that's where it's going. So the tree and the lights. In addition to that, on the 18th of November, here, here, Christmas market opens. And we at the Bid have taken a chalet this year to let the independent businesses experience the Christmas market in its full glory. It gives the independent businesses a chance to reach a different audience. So we'll be in the market from the 18th of November through till its close on the 22nd of December. The independent chalet will be handing out tote bags, we'll be handing out maps. And talking of maps, Paul mentioned on his slides earlier, 50,000 maps a year, 25,000 of those this Christmas will be put through residents' doors. We will do a festive version of the independent map, and they will be hand delivered to 25,000 residents of the city so that they can actually discover what goes on in Winchester. Very often we find that people, not so much now, but pre-COVID, lived in Winchester, didn't know Winchester. Lived in Winchester, commuted to London. Now we're trying to encourage them to come into the city. If you want an even more Christmassy Winchester experience, the Kingsgate lights over here come on a week after ours. So on the 24th of November, we help them switch their lights on. They have mulled wine and they have mince pies. That, in my opinion, is reason to turn up for them. Christmas looks like this.
Good evening and welcome to the Winchester Christmas Lights Switch On. The Christmas Lights in Winchester 2021 are going on in 10, 9, louder, 8, louder, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1,
So, now hopefully you're all in the Christmas mood. What can you do to be part of Christmas? Just come along and support us at that. We do this because you as businesses want us to do this. We do this because this is what makes Winchester proud. This is what the people of Winchester love. And that's Christmas. And that's our events. Now, realistically, I did all that months ago and I'm working on next June. But this is what you need to know at the moment. So spooky window trail and Christmas light switch on 17th of November. Back to Hugh.
Sarah, thank you very much. Would you like to hand over to Donna?
I would love to hand over to Donna. It's my absolute pleasure to welcome Donna Jones, the Police Commissioner for Hampshire and the Isle of Wight, to the floor tonight. Donna is going to perform a series of interpretive dance, but first, so putting you on the spot, but first is going to talk to us about Winchester and policing and
crime.
Crime.
Pleasant things.
Crime.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, I don't have a video, unfortunately, and I have a book which I brought, a copy for you all. But what fantastic videos! I can understand why you're emotional. I can feel your passion, and I have to say, representing 2 million people and hundreds of thousands of businesses across Hampshire and the Isle of Wight, I can honestly say, and I know this is being recorded, so I don't want to offend other councils, but probably arguably the prettiest high street, and actually the most thriving. It's not just about the fact that you have such a high occupation rate amongst retailers in Winchester, but actually the quality of the retailers that you have as well is absolutely outstanding. And having been the leader of a city council and having battled with regeneration in high streets and cities, it's a real challenge. And being here for the last 16, 17 months, my office is in Winchester, it is such a pleasure to come to. It's a lovely high street, so well done to you as a very, very successful bid when so many others have given up the ghost and walked away, and you guys are doing it and you're all supporting it, so well done. Anyway, from that positivity to crime and policing and all of those really popular things. So I thought what I would do is just literally for a couple of minutes tell you a little bit about who I am and my role, because many people still don't really understand the role of the Police and Crime Commissioner and how I can help you and how I'm here to serve you. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about what's going on across Hampshire, the Isle of Wight, a little bit of a touch on the national. We touched on the government earlier, and our new Home Secretary is, of course, a Hampshire MP in Siwilla Braverman, MP for Fareham. And that's quite handy for me as a Police and Crime Commissioner, that the boss is on my patch, which makes me the envy of other Police and Crime Commissioners. And then if there are questions, I'd love to take questions from you. So I'm only going to talk for about 10 minutes and then hopefully get into questions if there are any, Hugh, if that's okay with you. So, I am a business owner as well, and a landowner, and my professional background is in banking. So I worked for a FTSE 50 company from the mid-90s to the mid-2000s, when I then got married and had children, and then took a career break. And I was telling you this earlier, wasn't I? Apologies, you're hearing this for the second time. So understanding what you're going through, understanding with the economic pressures that are coming up, I think it'll be officially 2 or 3 weeks and we will be in recession properly when we're into our second quarter of negative growth. That's a bit of an oxymoron, isn't it? But you know where I'm going there. I understand where you're going with things. I understand the pressures that you're going to be facing, although my business is not in retail, but I get that there are hard times ahead. And actually, that has a knock-on effect on crime as well. And I want to quantify some of that for you as well today, if I can. So, 10 years of working in investment banking. I had my 2 sons, and then after having been very lucky to have 3 or 4 years off work as a stay-at-home mum, went back to work, had to study and take exams again to get my reauthorisation to be able to trade. And 8 months after I'd got my reauthorisation, which took nearly a year in itself, I said to my husband, I don't want to do this anymore. And he said, I knew you were going to say that. And I said, I really don't, I'm just not feeling it anymore. You know, chasing profits and working for a company that's constantly, obsessed by its profit share. I just don't want to do that. I want to give something back. Now, in between having Ben and Harry, my 2 sons, I was appointed as a magistrate. So I had been serving as a magistrate for a number of years, and until May last year I'd served for 16 years, and for 13 of those years being a bench chair on the South East Hampshire bench, which is otherwise aka Portsmouth. So you can imagine it's a very busy magistrate bench to sit on, and you really do see life at its worst, I have to say. And one of the things that struck me coming from a private sector background was the cyclical nature of the problems of the people that were coming through the door. Then, having decided that working for HBOS as it was not really my thing anymore, I dipped my toe. There was a by-election in the ward where I lived. So the councillor had very suddenly passed away. And a knock on the door came from canvassers, and I said, actually, how do I get involved? And within 6 months, I was deputy chairman. Within another 6 months, I was chairman of the constituency, and then I was running Penny Mordaunt's general election campaign. Within 18 months after that, in Portsmouth North, which is where I live. And that was that was my introduction, my baptism of fire into politics. And I'd studied politics at A-level, but not beyond that. Obviously, as you know, gone into finance. Always been very interested in economics, which of course is hand in glove with politics. And so, I then, became leader of the City Council in Portsmouth from 2014 to 2018, really opened my eyes about the incredible amount of waste. If there is ever a way to not spend public money, it's through governments, because they honestly can waste money at an extortionate rate that even today I have to pinch myself, 15, 16 years into the public sector now, and think, oh my God, I will never lose my private sector roots, because I challenge, why are we spending that? Why does that cost that amount? Can we do that differently? And unfortunately, when you build out risk through procurement, you also build in incredible amounts of costs. And actually the thing you're worried about, which is getting fleeced by someone who's going to rip you off, is actually what happens legitimately by procurement processes. But there you go, that's another issue. And if I'm ever Home Secretary or perhaps Prime Minister, I'll try and address that. But, and that's not an aspiration, please don't take that away from me. So, fast forward a number of years, and here I find myself stood before you as your Police and Crime Commissioner. A huge honour for me, I have to say. And there aren't many people in this country that can look you in the eye and say, I've been elected to represent 2 million people, which is quite a thing. I still wake up in the mornings and think, crikey, there's my motivation for going to work. And actually some incredibly vulnerable people as well. And actually, I'm going to bring that back to all of you. And I started by saying about the recession and about the problems that are going on fiscally in this country, also across Europe, and of course across the globe. And earlier this year, when America very hastily, being their trusted friend, they didn't tell us this in advance, suddenly withdrew troops from Afghanistan. And then embarrassingly, we followed suit, in the following 2 weeks, because of course we had decent men and women who serve our British forces who were then very, very vulnerable out in Afghanistan. What does that mean to all of you around bringing that back to the incredible vulnerability of some of the people that live in our communities? And that is about the supply of heroin into Britain. So 82% of the heroin that comes into Britain comes from Afghanistan. And it goes down through into Africa, and then it comes up through Europe, mostly in containers and shipping and all different other ways it gets into the country. But what we have been doing, Britain and America, over a number of years, is, as many of you will know, is paying the farmers to grow crops rather than poppies. Poppies they make a lot more money from, but we're paying them to grow crops, to farm food that they could eat in Afghanistan and around that region. And so with us not being there and no longer paying subsidies to those farmers, of course, the amount of heroin being produced is going to spike. And even though the Taliban do not support, consuming alcohol and drugs, they will absolutely exploit that to fund their regimes. We know that. So one of the things that I've been working on is how long will it take, the farming cycles, how long is it going to take to get heroin coming through into the country in greater supply? Is it even going to be in greater supply, or will it not have that much of an effect? Now, the way that affects you is because many of the people that shoplift from you will either be long-term alcoholics or they'll be drug addicts. And they're coming into your stores, they're often threatening you or your staff, they're depriving you of your goods, and excellent that you're retrieving the amount you are, so well done to you, but you will know better than any of us the complexity of some of the people that you'll be engaging with on the high street to try and stop them. And John and the policing team here in Winchester, and by the way, you have an excellent, as you know, district commander in Chief Inspector John Turton. But it's complex, isn't it? And you'll know on the walk down here, I've got 3 of my team with me here today. And Roger, who is a DCI in the corner there, stopped and spoke to someone on the high street who was homeless and just trying to find out what was going on. And, everyone has their story. Now, I'm not excusing criminal behaviours, because I know that that's not right. And it's in my police and crime plan, which I want to come to now, where business crime is a priority for me to support you. Because yes, there are 2 million people, but there are also, as I say, hundreds of thousands of businesses who are keeping the economy going across Hampshire and the Isle of Wight. So for me, you are an absolute priority as wealth generators and as employers, keeping people obviously in employment. So, Police and Crime Commissioner. So I'm not a police officer, as you now know. I'm a politician and a banker, so I'm everyone's favourite dinner guest. But anyway, having come from a banking background, and understanding economics is key. So the budget that I preside over for Hampshire Constabulary is just under £500 million a year. So I'm hoping, with the new government, if Liz Truss wants to spend some money, that it might go just over £500 million through either Friday, well, it'll be from Friday, but it'll be next year when we get the new allocations of our 3-year settlement in policing. It's tough. It's really tough in the public sector, as you know. I think that we need around 1,000 additional police officers here in Hampshire and the Isle of Wight to get to the sweet spot as a layperson coming into this world, from what I've seen and from reading reports and from looking at the complexities of crime across Hampshire and the Isle of Wight. But the government, through the National Uplift Programme, pledged 20,000, and of that share for Hampshire and the Isle of Wight, ours was 498 additional police officers. Now, when I became your police commissioner last May, I pledged 600 extra. I said, if you vote for me, if I'm your police commissioner, I'm going to go above and beyond by 102 extra, and I will find the money through efficiency, through savings, for utilising the skills that I've got in understanding both economics and also through understanding how to manage the waste out of public sector financing. I'm going to find the money to go above and beyond and get you to 600, which we are at the 498 this month, hurrah. So the Home Office are now happy we've ticked their box. My 600 will be delivered by March next year, and that's when I will shake the Chief Constable's hand and say thank you for delivering on that pledge. And I know that she's really keen to do that too. So my economics bit comes in because, as well as presiding over a revenue budget, we have reserves, and we have quite a lot of money in reserves at the moment because we've got some big projects we're waiting to deliver. So by utilising my skills in investments, I'm able to then get more return for that money, which generates more income, which then of course helps the very pressurised revenue budget. So one of the things that I have to do as a Police and Crime Commissioner, as your voice in policing, is not only hold the Chief Constable to account, it's to own and set and manage the budget for the police force, and also for my own office, which is £50 million of a nearly £500 million budget. I am the landlord of the whole police estate, so all of the 130 police buildings come under me, and the Chief Constable is effectively the tenant. So you can imagine the complexities of very old, asbestos-ridden police stations. Not good fun to be in charge of. And there are loads of statutory responsibilities I've got, but one of them is to write a police and crime plan. And this is a document that has to be done within so many months of being elected. It has to be registered with the Home Office, and you as members of the public are entitled to view this, see it, hold me to account, and ask me how I'm delivering on these policing priorities, which I set for the Chief Constable. She must then deliver a police service adhering to these. So in order for me to be able to set a legal police and crime plan, I consulted with you. I consulted with you in persons where I could. Last year we were coming out of COVID. I consulted with you online. I wrote to you. I came to business events. People in my team, Randy, came to business events. And we had over 8,000 responses. And I know that doesn't sound a lot when you have 2 million people and 1.4 million of those being adults. But trust me, that's hard. It's really hard to get 8,000 responses, and we worked incredibly hard. And actually, you all told me, very clearly what you wanted. So, what you have in here, and I hope I've brought enough for people to take one, is the top 9 priorities that I've set at the beginning. Number 1, 600 more police. You said to me, we want more police. We know that there aren't enough. We're fed up of not seeing them, and we're fed up of not getting the response when we phone in a crime. We don't get feedback, or no one turns up. So in order to address those issues, we need more police officers. Secondly, you said to me that you wanted to see more visibility of the police. So that is priority number 2. And we worked down the list. Knife crimes, unauthorised encampments, burglaries. There's a whole load of priorities that you have been reviewing the 101 service. You want better, quicker call answering when you phone 101. The 999 is good. We answer that in the Home Office approved times. That's really good, but it's the 101 that you were not so happy with. So on each page in my police and crime plan, you have, so for example, 600, what it is, why you've told me, why we together think that's needed, how I'm going to deliver it for you, and how you can judge me, what the success looks like. I've kept it very simple, I've made it very accessible, because a lot of the people that are using criminal justice agencies are often the least educated in our societies, and they're perhaps the ones that really need to know what the police are going to do to help them when they start to get on the straight and narrow, which is where we need them all to be. At the back, in a slightly more grey section, is the high harm stuff, the murders, the rapes, the serious frauds, all the stuff that I think the force was doing really, really well. I don't need to reinvent the wheel. If the Chief Constable's doing a good job, I pat her on the back and say, carry on. It's not about me having to make my mark on everything. And then there's also a section at the very, very back around money, grants. You mentioned, Paul, Trinity Lighthouse, and there are lots of charities around Winchester that I'm funding to try and help. So I will leave this here, and please do take one. So normally police commissioners are elected for a 4-year term. I've been elected for a 3-year term because of COVID. So up for election again in May 24. Really, I'm listening to business communities. I'm listening to you as business owners across the 2 counties of Hampshire and the Isle of Wight in how I can help, how we can make things better, looking at bringing back area cars. I really want to, in the next sort of 12 to 18 months, look at bringing back the local village bobbies, because people want to have their police officer in their local communities that they know, reopening the police front desk so that you can go and report crime if you need to. Actually, you have a front desk here in Winchester, but many communities don't, as you know. Opening more police stations, but they have to be in the right locations and they have to be delivering what we need. And finally, I have 2 national portfolios through the Association of Police and Crime Commissioners, working with the National Police Chiefs Council, and one is serious and organised crime, So the Afghanistan and the supply of heroin and all those kind of things. And the second one is on the National Lead for Victims, which includes violence against women and girls. So 2 very big portfolios. So the 2 government departments that I work with daily, including multiple emails and calls and stuff today, are the Home Office and the Ministry of Justice. So the Ministry of Justice create the legislation, the Home Office then have to deliver it through police forces, but also, of course, the Home Secretary has border control, and we have lots of things having so much coastline in Hampshire and the Isle of Wight. We are very vulnerable to people coming in through the ports, particularly illegally, and then how we are caring and looking after for those people when they are here, and making sure that we are supporting government agencies in the way that they need to. So they are my 2 national areas of focus as well. So I give out around £3.5 million of funding a year in grants to charities and community interest companies and local organisations, and then I get about another £6 million a year from the Ministry of Justice to support victims and other things. So it's just under £10 million a year in total that we're giving out through my office per year. So if you're involved in a charity, if there are good causes that you're aware of, please do get in contact with my office, and we can help put you in the right direction to our bidding process or our procurement processes if that's something that you're interested in. I hope that's covered what I do and who I am, and if anyone has any questions, I'm very happy to take them.
We will do a Q&A at the end. Who'd like to start us off? Robert?
Yeah, can I ask you a hypothetical question? You're going to hate this. If we decided not to vote the bid in for another 5 years, what would the police do to fill the void that we left with the departure of our Rangers?
Well,
anything?
The police uplift programme, so the 498 police officers that we have at the moment, they are already in force. They are in training for 2 years, well, it's technically 3, but 2 years before they're much more operationally competent. They spend 30% of year 1 and 30% of year 2 in the classroom studying for a police degree, which I don't agree with, but that's what they have to do at the moment. I think we should have cops that are cops, and if they want to do a degree as well, that's great, but it shouldn't be compulsory. We're not necessarily getting the right skill set into policing, is my personal opinion. So, at the moment, we are not coping with the demand of crime that's out there. Over the next sort of year, or up until next March, the next 7-8 months, up until we get to that 600, I'm really hoping that those officers, the recruitment process started in January 2020, straight after the general election. The first officer started in March 2020, so they've just been coming out now. So we're actually now operationally policing, so like John Turton, your district commander, is now getting a genuine benefit, because up until now, over the last 2 years, if he was given an extra 2 or 3 officers, his sergeants or his other PCs were having to act as a mentor. So if I was a new cop and you weren't existing, if I was going out to do a search warrant, you'd have to be with me, you'd have to be checking what I'm doing, making sure the paperwork's filled in properly, which means you're not 100% operational as you should be. So actually it's been a detriment, it's been a draw to the amount of time that Hampshire Police has had to put their compliant and their operational police officers on duty. So we are now starting to see the benefit from March this year, when those cops were 2 years out of their training and then able to go off and do things on their own accord. That will carry on improving. Now, I explained that because in answer to your question, do I think John can backfill what the bid's doing? Absolutely not. He can't even keep up with all of the intel that will be coming in around drug supply in Winchester at the moment and the surrounding area. So do I think he's going to be able to replicate? And would that be his number one priority when he's got domestic abuse will be absolutely a top priority for him on his district policing plan, because every district commander has a district policing plan. And I'm not saying that retail crime and the ASB in the high street and threats of violence and shoplifting would not feature in maybe his top 10. As Winchester kind of city it is, I think it probably would, but it certainly won't be in his top half. He's got so much more going on in terms of exploitation that I don't think, well, I know that Hampshire Constabulary will not be able to backfill for what you've got here, if I'm being absolutely honest with you.
Very full answer for you there, Robert.
So we have to vote. What we're saying is we need to vote for the bid again, don't we?
Yes, we have to. Yeah.
I wish it was, well, I don't wish it was, I wish I could tell you that it would all be great, but I just can't do that.
Thanks.
How do you decide where to put the resources, how to spend the budget? What factors do you take into account?
Statutory responsibilities, local people's priorities. So, for example, something that I'll give you a little exclusive here, but Olivia's the Chief Constable is currently on a command course for 3 months at the College of Policing, running the national command course. So we have an interim chief at the moment who's our current Deputy Chief Constable, Ben Snuggs. So Ben and I are going to be going out next week to say that 100% of domestic burglaries will now get responded to. So that's a priority where I've said, we really must have dedicated burglary teams. Not all police forces have dedicated rape and serious sexual assault teams. We do here because we are the 4th largest force in the country outside of the Met. So how do we prioritise? One, on statutory responsibility that the Chief Constable has and that I have. Secondly, on what your makeup is of your community. So, some police forces, like Liverpool, for example, very, very urban. We have a mix of urban and rural. And actually, if you think about the square miles of Hampshire, the vast majority of it is actually is rural. And so making sure that we've got enough rural police officers, which we don't at the moment, for anyone who says that, we are getting there. 9 new rural police officers have gone into that team over the last 6 months. But making sure that we are prioritising, because if there's a gap in an area, organised crime gangs, OCGs, they are now operating in rural areas because they knew there was an opportunity, they knew they were under police, they knew they could get away with it. Quad bikes, tractors, organised crime gangs coming from Birmingham down to Hampshire, stealing tractors on a container in Southampton and over into the Western Balkans, within hours. So by the time the farmer's woken up, the landowner's woken up, it's gone. And yes, they can have tracking devices, but these criminals are clever. If you're going to steal a tractor and have it on a container and out of the country within 3, 4, 5 hours, you're going to know how to disable a tracking device as well, or remove a tracking device. So it is about priorities. It's about looking at your urban-rural mix for us. It's about working with partners, and every police force is buddied with another police force. So we're buddied with Thames Valley Police, 3rd largest outside of the Met. So again, we're both big players. Which works much better than having one big and one very small force. We share with them our armed response, so our firearms officers. We share with them our police dogs, our horses, our marine unit. So we wouldn't have necessarily been able to retain all of that specialism if we'd not buddied with another force throughout austerity.
Thank you. Any more questions?
Actually, I just had a question. I know you're going to go up to 600 police officers, which is fantastic. But that's just catching more crime. How are you going to help the people that are probably vulnerable, not all of them, but there'll be some people there, to not re-offend, to try and get to the root of the actual issue so that we don't have it all the time around here, but other places will have it more?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. So for me, it's around weaving trauma-informed practice throughout everything that we're doing. So the contracts that we're commissioning. So Trinity Lighthouse, for example, with the homeless shelter there, they absolutely support trauma-informed practice, and also with the drug and alcohol substance misuse. There's another charity in Drury Street who are doing exactly the same thing. I was there last week, supporting people who have been raped and sexually assaulted either recently, or they deal with lots and lots of historic, particularly family type incidents. And very often with criminals, I've never met a Class A drug addict in my years in court who didn't start smoking marijuana, and then it was a gateway drug, and they went on, and that very often starts in teenage years. Excluded from school, if there are problems at home, children growing up in homes of domestic abuse, or perhaps no dad around, mum may have financial problems, depression, alcoholism, picking bad partners to come into the home that are revolving door of partners and or could be very aggressive or alcoholics themselves. And actually some of these kids, when you look at the outcomes of children with ACEs, adverse childhood experiences, if you have a look at how many ACEs they have, it's fairly textbook actually. That sounds really horrible to talk about children in that way. But if you have 5, 6, 7 or more ACEs and you don't have a good resilience level behind that, so in other words, you don't feel completely loved all the time, you don't have a trusted person, whether it be a guide leader, a scout leader, whether it's a teacher that you can lean on. If it's not your parents, everyone needs somebody to look up to when they're a child. And if you haven't got the resilience there and you've got multiple issues in your childhood, the chances of you growing up to be either a violent perpetrator of the kind of behaviours you've seen and learned as a child, let's say if you're a young lad, or a girl picking a partner that perhaps is not going to treat her in the way that she should do, are off the scale. You would not believe the way that it affects a child's outcomes. And so for me, before I got elected, I thought, I really want to focus on stopping teenagers from being criminalised. That's where we need to intervene at that point, stop them from getting involved then, because once they've got a criminal record, they're, how do you get a job then? How do you get onto an apprenticeship scheme? It makes it so much more difficult if you're not academic and you're not going to go to university or onto some kind of further education. But actually, when I learnt more about trauma-informed practice, I realised that it actually needs to start pre-birth, because the damage to a baby's brain, even in the womb, is unbelievable. And when they're first born, the way that a baby's brain will develop in those first 12 months is you can really stimulate a child's brain by talking to a baby's cooing at you, cooing back, and making similar noises, because it stimulates them to think that what they're doing is right. Eye contact. Children that are not given a lot of attention, they will often be kids that will grow up to have attention deficit disorders and things such as that, where they are going to struggle to learn and be focused at school. And we really need to be doing so much more of this. So I put a pilot to the Home Office in September last year. We secured £460,000 through my office, and we've trained up 2,000 public sector workers across Hampshire and the Isle of Wight. Health visitors, midwives, teachers, GPs, other health practitioners, social workers, around the benefits of trauma-informed practice. And in March this year, I held the first county-wide trauma-informed conference at Southampton Football Club, and we invited, we had a world-leading expert, an American guy called Basil Vanderpool, who spoke all about, he spoke to us from, I think it's Connecticut he lives, but, he spoke to us online and was talking to us about all of these things and much, much more. I'm still really novice, so if anyone in the room knows about this stuff, I'm on my journey learning about it, but it is absolutely about prevention is better than cure. One of the best government programmes, it wasn't run very well, but one of the best government programmes in terms of its concept that has been scrapped, that really needs to come back, is the Troubled Families programme. Because if you deal with that, you don't then need to lock them up, because we're phoning them as kids and we're locking them up as adults. And there was a really well-known police officer from Scotland, Jim Taggart, from years ago, who said, if you offered me 1,000 more police officers, I'd say give me 1,000 more health workers and midwives, because that's where we need to be doing the work to stop us needing to react through locking them up and arresting them when they get into their teens and 20s and 30s and beyond. And, so for me, it's not rocket science, it's there. We just need government departments to be talking to each other and doing the right thing.
Thank you, Donna. Any final questions? So I think we'll draw things to a conclusion. But before we all go home, I just want to thank you, Donna. I want to thank you, Paul, and you, Sarah, for your invigorating and extremely interesting presentations. And I think we should give you a round of applause, actually, to acknowledge